Wash First, I'd like to say thank you to the St. Paul Lutheran Choir under the direction of Donna Bryson. Thank you very much. And if you enjoyed that as much as I did, you'll be happy to know that we will get to hear them again before the night is done. And now I'd like to also mention that we do have childcare available in the basement, so if anyone has someone with them that might be able to take advantage of that, please go right downstairs and we have people waiting for you. And now I'd like to welcome you to the 21st National Observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Federal Holiday. It is with excitement and anticipation that I greet you this evening as we join together in celebrating the life and the legacy of Dr. King. As we move through tonight's program, we should all consider a few of the traits that he passed on to the national consciousness of the United States of America. Dr. King performed his work with selflessness, with courage, compassion, and dignity. And it is with unfathomed humility that he served us all by providing us a pathway that many disenfranchised people of our nation have been able to join in the national conversation. That pathway is built on hope for a brighter tomorrow, checkered with the soothing promise that our nation will indeed heal herself and truly become one nation under God. We have the privilege tonight of having a very distinguished person here with us who will give our keynote address, Ms. Reno Charette. She is an enrolled member of the Crow tribe. She graduated from St. Labre Indian School in Ashland, Montana. She received her bachelor's degree in liberal arts and her master's degree in history from the University of Montana, with specialized fields in the American West and the Islamic Middle East. Currently, she is the coordinator of Indian Affairs for Governor Brian Schweitzer's office. As coordinator, she serves as liaison between the tribes and the state government, provides service to the Indian people both on and off reservations, and serves as an advisor in the field of Indian Affairs for the Montana Congressional Delegation. The coordinator is a member of the State Tribal Economic Development Commission, Board of Veteran Affairs, American Indian Monument, and Tribal Flag Circle, as well as the advisory group for the removal of the word squaw from geographic sites and features. Previously, she's been the project director for the Bighorn Teacher Project that included 4 federally funded teacher education grants administered by Montana State University in Billings. She also served as project coordinator for Health Careers Opportunity Program in the School of Pharmacy at the University of Montana. In that capacity, she was responsible for the recruitment from Montana's 7 Indian reservations. She's also been the instructor for educational opportunity programs at the University of Montana, in which she advised disadvantaged and minority students in academic planning and financial aid. She's been a guest speaker for the Tokyo Institute and the Kumamoto Institute, sponsored by the Continuing Education Department at the University of Montana. Both institutes are English as second language programs serving Japanese students. And finally, she has 4 children, ages 8 to 27, with 2 sons attending Salish Kootenai College in Pablo, and her eldest daughter now lives in New Hampshire, and her youngest attends Alkali Creek Elementary School in Billings. I hope that you will all join me in giving a very warm welcome to our keynote speaker tonight, Ms. Reno Charette.
Thank you very much. You know, I'm a woman who's a descendant of the Turtle Mountain Chippewa. I'm enrolled as a Crow, and I'm about to tell you, a mostly white audience, about Cheyenne men on a black man's holiday. I think we're going to have some diversity going on here tonight. Since we're in a church, I'd like to begin by first thanking the Creator for giving us this day and for bringing us together in celebration. I'd like to thank my daughter for being here, my Ties in the Bundle clan members, and fellow natives for your support tonight. May the Creator follow you home safely. My friend Murray asked me to speak about the impact of Martin Luther King Jr.'s message on Indian country and in my life. My task became a challenge to weave a tapestry of memory and experience with snapshots of Indian country in response to one of the most beloved civil rights leaders in our nation and the world. My memories are intertwined with the memories I inherited from my elders and tied to lessons of philosophy, culture, and values. You will be the judge of my success in uncoiling these memories in an attempt to identify a point of impact, evidence of cause and effect, and influence that Martin Luther King Jr. brought into my corner of Indian country. I was raised among the Northern Cheyenne in eastern Montana during the 1960s. How did Reverend King's message reach the Tongue River Reservation? I can only share what I have been taught and how I've been taught, so I will simply tell you a story. In 1878, Little Wolf and Dull Knife and 300 of their followers, mostly women and children, escaped from Oklahoma Indian Territory, where many had died or were sick from malarial diseases. They were determined to return to their homeland in southeastern Montana. Despite being chased by troops, they eluded capture. Somewhere in Nebraska, the group split up. Little Wolf chose a route north through Sand Hills, then on to Powder River. Meanwhile, Dull Knife decided to go to the Red Cloud Agency, believing they were safe in the territory of their traditional homeland. But little did he know that the agency had been moved to the Dakotas. It wasn't long before Captain Johnson of the 3rd Cavalry intercepted Dull Knife's band of 149 people. They were taken to Fort Robinson, and for about 2 months they lived well and they were treated kindly by the soldiers, until a man named Bull Hump escaped to join his wife in hiding with the band of Sioux. As a result, the officers imprisoned Dull Knife's people in their barracks. Bull Hump's escape brought about orders from Washington to return the Cheyenne to Oklahoma. The Cheyenne adamantly refused. It is told that Dull Knife said, "We will not go there to live. We do not wish to go back. We will not go. I am here on my own ground, and I will never go back. You may kill me here, but you cannot make me go back." After failing to force the Cheyenne to move south, Captain Wessels withheld rations, water, and fuel for 8 days. The people scraped the frost off the windows in an attempt to satisfy their thirst, and they shared a few scraps of food that had been left over from previous meals. It wasn't very long before they were starving, and they waited. They waited to die. The commanding officer tried once again to convince them to return to Oklahoma. Dull Knife responded, "We will not go. The only way to get us there is to come in here with clubs and knock us on the head and drag us out and take us down there, dead. We have nothing to defend ourselves with. And if you want to, you can come in here with clubs and kill us like dogs." The women were as brave as the men. They all agreed to die fighting. In preparation, they painted their faces and put on their best clothes and their best moccasins. 5 guns had been hidden under the floorboards under the flooring in their barracks. and 11 pistols had been cleverly hidden in plain sight. Small pistol parts were worn as ornaments decorating the clothing and the hair of the children. Almost all the children wore triggers or screws or springs fashioned as bracelets and necklaces. The ammunition was hidden under the clothing of the women. By sunset on the 9th of January, 1879, they were ready. Husbands kissed their wives, and parents kissed their children for the last time. When the sun went down, young men armed with their only weapons broke out the windows and jumped out into the snow. The full moon lit the way for the women and the children to follow. The brave young men fought off the soldiers as best they could to allow the women and the children a chance to escape. Those men were among the first to die. The soldiers pursued and fired on the fleeing people as they ran to a nearby stream for a coveted drink of water. The toll of starvation weighed down their flight. The women ran through the icy stream carrying their babies. With their clothes wet and freezing, they ran as best they could until exhaustion dropped them to catch a breath. They were easily overtaken by the soldiers and killed. Even the babies were shot to death. The blood in the snow marked the trail of fleeing people. That night, 50 Cheyennes were killed. 65 were wounded and captured. And over the next 2 weeks, the soldiers tracked down those who had hidden in small caves in a sandstone bluff. Some were caught in the Badlands. Some were killed by troops who found them hiding in a buffalo wallow. Dullknife and a handful of his family members hid in a cave for 10 days. Starvation forced them to eat their moccasins, whatever roots they could find, and some sinew one of the women had. They spent another 18 days wandering and traveling at night until finally they reached the Pine Ridge Reservation. After that, over the years, the survivors of Dullknife's band were eventually transferred to the Tongue River Reservation, where they rejoined Little Wolf's band. I'm very fortunate to be of a generation that never knew what this country was like without the influence of Martin Luther King, Jr. He began his walk on this earth 28 years before me, and 5 years after Congress enacted a law to give U.S. citizenship to American Indians. Before I was born, Rosa Parks sat down in dispute of segregation while Martin Luther King stood up against it. Buses were boycotted and Reverend King's home was bombed. I was born the year that Little Rock, Arkansas High School needed federal troops to protect the first black students who were integrating the school. These issues were headline news not only in the South, but across the nation in the 1950s and 60s. Martin Luther King gave his famous "I Have a Dream" speech the year I was a first grader. Like most kids, I probably wanted to watch cartoons rather than watch the TV news coverage of the 1963 March on Washington. Nonetheless, I experienced why Reverend King's message was important. I wasn't black, but white people set me apart as different. I wasn't from the South, but I was from a reservation. I didn't attend a segregated school, but I learned about prejudice at school. My family was sent to Washington State on the Indian relocation program about that time I started school. It was on the playground at recess that my peers introduced me to their belief that coloreds belong with coloreds. It made sense to them that I, the only Indian kid, should play with the Mexican kid, the only other child of color in the class. He was brown and I was brown. I learned about discrimination at school. Although it wasn't expected to be part of a 6-year-old's awareness, Medgar Evers of the NAACP was murdered that year. I also learned about discrimination from stories shared in my family. My father told stories of his experiences in reservation border towns where merchants posted signs that read, "No dogs and no Indians." He told stories of his Navy days while stationed in the South, where he saw public drinking water fountains labeled white and colored. He stood before them, confused. As an American Indian, which one was meant for him? He didn't know what to do, so he didn't drink from them at all. My grandmother, she told stories of needing a pass from an Indian agent in order to leave the exterior boundaries of her reservation. She told stories of being taken from her parents in Belcourt, North Dakota, to attend boarding school in Chemawa, Oregon, when she was 6 years old, and her little brother went with her. They stayed at Chemawa for 4 years before ever seeing their parents again. These stories made a deep impression on me and directed my attention to issues of oppression, discrimination, injustice, and poverty. Yet alongside this growing awareness, I also developed a great sense of pride and strength in being Indian. In the mid-60s, my parents left the Indian relocation program and returned to Montana to live on the Northern Cheyenne Reservation, formerly known as the Tongue River Reservation. At that point, Martin Luther King Jr. had already received the Nobel Peace Prize. Malcolm X had been assassinated. Race riots had come to pass in Watts and Detroit, and Cassius Clay was stripped of his heavyweight boxing title for resisting the military draft. Like a lot of families on the reservation, we lived in a home without indoor plumbing, and kerosene lamps provided light. We didn't have a TV or a telephone. Still, the power of Martin Luther King Jr.'s message reached the Northern Cheyenne Reservation. I was a child then and taught to never interrupt parents and adults when they were speaking. Fortunately, I took the advantage of the opportunity to listen. I learned from the stories told by Northern Cheyenne elders who visited our home. Among them were exceptional storytellers like John Stanzentimber, the author of Cheyenne Memories, John Woodenlegs Sr., my grandfather, Roy Bolson, and also my Crow grandfather, Clark Takes the Horse. They taught me through their stories that Indian people highly valued leadership, peacekeepers, oratory skills, holy people, and those who cared for the less fortunate. Leadership was earned through respect, setting a good example, working hard, prayer, and valuing friends and family. If Martin Luther King had been Cheyenne, he would have climbed to the top of Bear Butte to fast for a vision. He would have been a holy man whose trip to the mountaintop gave him a dream of peace for all people. Although Martin Luther King's work primarily involved the Black community, his message was directly relevant to American Indians across our nation. He empowered oppressed people throughout the world and inspired hope for a better future through eloquent and poetic stories of peace and justice. Martin Luther King Jr. took action and responsibility in the same fashion that Cheyenne leaders used to distinguish themselves. They honorably stepped forward into the path of danger in acts of bravery to protect the well-being of their people. If Martin Luther King had been Cheyenne, he would have counted many coups. Martin Luther King Jr.'s message reached the Northern Cheyenne Reservation through a shared vision of leadership, honor, and bravery. His example and accomplishments made the old people talk of their history, their moments of triumph, leaders of the old days, old ways, and the need for their young people to retain these values. I was a child who listened to the old people, a child who loved stories and the storytellers who could captivate any audience. These early impressions and lessons from tribal storytellers inspired my love of history, formed my cultural identity, and guided my academic choices and influenced the direction of my career to work for what Governor Schweitzer calls the last and the least. Unfortunately, we still live in a society where many of the discriminatory conditions that Martin Luther King fought against are still thriving. My grandchildren's generation has inherited the lingering effects of border town racism, an academic achievement gap, overrepresentation in prisons and social ills, and underrepresentation in all the usual measures of economic prosperity. On this day of celebration of Martin Luther King Jr. and all that he stood for, we are still in the struggle. American Indians are still in the struggle. Yesterday, 120 Northern Cheyenne children completed a 400-mile run to commemorate their ancestors' escape from Fort Robinson, Nebraska, 126 years ago. The 9th annual Northern Cheyenne Robinson Outbreak Spiritual Run is an opportunity to teach tribal history, instill pride, and bolster cultural identity. A year ago, another 120 kids had participated, some as young as 7. As they crossed through a Montana town, they encountered racial hostilities. This year, preventative measures, including a visit by Lieutenant Governor John Bollinger, were taken to ensure a safer passage. The run is not about reviving a mentality of warfare against the government or white people. It's a healing run that gives the youth an opportunity to put into practice a message that came to the reservation from Martin Luther King Jr. In 1963, he told the people, "Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. We must forever conduct our struggle on the high plane of dignity and discipline. We must not allow our creative protests to degenerate into physical violence. Again and again, we must rise to the majestic heights of meeting physical force with soul force. This is a time for bravery. This is a time to take action, and it's a time to choose the right cup to drink from." Thank you for the generosity of your time and the kindness of your attention. God bless you, and be brave.
And I'd like to say thank you. Thank you for sharing with us your very real and personal history. Stories that touch a chord of recognition in many of us in this room. Stories that strengthen the ties that bind us all. Thank you. I propose that we consider this day a day of cooperation among people. I believe this honors the vision and the work of Dr. King, because this is the people's holiday. This day is not exclusive to African Americans. All of us, whether Hispanic, Asian, Native American, Caucasian, poor, rich, or somewhere in between, reap the benefits of his work. I'm reminded of the words of Professor George Price, who informed us in this very sanctuary last year that Dr. King had broader concerns than just civil rights. He continued saying that Dr. King saw more of a connection with systematic injustice and showed concerns for other minorities, including Native Americans, Latinos, and poor whites as well. Dr. King recognized and understood that there is a common plight among marginalized people, and we must remember that today. Now, this time, I'd like to begin to recognize some more very special guests that we have. We have an essay contest that many students participated in, and I'd first like to bring up our essay winner from grades 3 through 5, Alyssa Penrose. Alyssa, if you would come up. Alyssa's going to read her essay to you now.
Dear friend, you may think that we are different, and we are in some ways, but in more ways we're the same. You like to play, and I like to play. You love your family, and I love mine too. Do you like music? I do. Martin Luther King said, I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. I want to be your friend. We are strong together, like an arch. When you lean on me and I lean on you, we are strong. If you are weak, that weakens me. If you have strength, it makes me stronger. If I help you, that helps me too. Let's make a goal to always be friends.
Thank you, Alyssa. Now, if Hadley Jones and Happy Mickelson would also step forward, they were the second and third place winners in grades 3 through 5. Now, if Julian Adler would step forward. Julian is our essay winner for grades 6 through 8.
Okay, to start on just a sort of obligatory note, this is in honor of a man. The poem's about a mask, and it's in honor of a man who never really picked it back up. I ride freely upon a surge of liberty, but am lost in the swell of tyranny behind me. I lounge upon the verdant beaches of wealth, only to witness others floundering in the sea of poverty. Lo, there I see a white dove, and feel its peaceful joy, only to be born into the chaos beyond. I promenade in a costume of happiness, but know that if it drops, I shall be miserable. To feel pain, to know poverty, to act in the mayhem they provoke, are feelings I have never felt. But to see others experience such detriment is harrowing. The only reason I am safe from such injury is because of the footsteps I have trod after. The dove, the liberty, the verdant beach, all could be snatched away in an instant. That is why I hold in my hand a mask of ignorance. That is the reason these problems are not solved. Leaders, citizens, heroes, all harbor such a mask. I hold it tight, as do they, but slowly there grows dissatisfaction. It obscures my view, blocks my vision. Gradually, I lose my grip and let it fall into the formerly disguised rubble. I see the war, the poverty, the tyranny, and slowly I bend down to find my mask.
Thank you, Julian. Now I'd like to call Morgan Hyde, who was second place for grades 6 through 8, and Dorothy Lai, who was third place. If you'll please come up and accept your awards. Thank you. And for grades 9 through 12, the first place winner is Kashayla Ivy. And I don't think Kashayla is here, but I do have her essay right here, and I will read it for you. Coming from a family who has racist people and a family who has people of color, I feel that without the influence of Martin Luther King Jr. and his ideas in civil rights, nonviolence, peace, and justice, today's society would not be in the position that we are today. I think that society would be worse off. Martin Luther King Jr. was a major influence to the people of the United States. He tried, as best he could, to teach us all to see people equally and not to discriminate against others, no matter what color of skin they have or what religion they believe in. He tried to influence every person, and he did influence many people to stand up for what they believe, whether a person believed was what the norm today's society believed. Today, we still face discrimination across the country and the world. Even after all his efforts, there are still going to be those people that will not accept everyone and who will keep discriminating against others. This discrimination could be against a person's skin color, disability, religion, or many other things. It is not fair to the people that face discrimination for things with which they were born or over which a person doesn't have any control. Racism and discrimination should not be accepted in society. We should take control over it and try to repair the efforts of Martin Luther King Jr. And our second and third place winners, Julian Kuntz and Curtis Monson, if you're here, would you please step forward to receive your awards? And now we're going to have, we had an art contest as well, and now we'll have those winners step forward. From grades 3 through 5, first place winner, Cassie Trippard, Anna Milligan, and Maya Hauk. Grades 6 through 8, Suzanne Saraf. Grades 9 through 12, J.C. Anderson, Carissa Gordon, and Carissa Milbrandt. Now, while we finish up the awards, I'm going to move. Would all of you please turn your pictures around and share them with the audience so they can see your work? Thank you, Murray. Now, moving on. This time, I want to say congratulations to Missoula. Last year, due to the efforts of many of you who attended this program last year, and also the Sunday dinner that was put on as a benefit to raise money for the Martin Luther King Memorial, Missoula was able to send over $2,000 to that cause. Congratulations, thank you. And now I'm going to ask you to help out again. So this time we're going to start passing around a little basket, similar to the way we do in church, and ask you to give whatever you can to help that cause. This memorial is going to be built on the mall in Washington, D.C. Hey, time out. If you guys would like to go and sit down now, you can. Thank you. I'm beginning to feel like I'm sinking fast. This memorial is going to be built on the mall again in Washington, D.C., between the Lincoln Memorial and the Jefferson Memorial on the corner of the Tidal Basin. We have pictures in the back of the church so that you can see an artist's rendition of what this is supposed to look like. In November, they broke ground on this memorial, but we've not raised enough funds yet to complete it. In addition to what we're doing here tonight, we will be having our second annual Sunday dinner in February. The Martin Luther King Committee is also sponsoring this dinner, and there's information on the back of your programs about this, so please keep your programs and check out that menu. The Sunday dinner was a very integral part of the civil rights movement. And not only that, it was an integral part of the African American family. On Sunday, and I'm sure many of you have had these experiences to this day, you get up in the morning, you go to church, come home, and fortunately, somebody probably started Saturday evening at some point preparing so that not too long after getting home from church, you could have a meal together. And that meal was not only breaking bread, but it was also a social event and a spiritually enriching event. It was an event where you invited your friends, your neighbors, your pastor. You shared what little bit you had with those around you that you cared about. You enriched each other. You edified each other. Gave each other strength to go on, face the coming week, and whatever you might face. So please, think about joining us on February 11th, and I think I got that date right. Yeah. At the Parkside at the Wilma, which is formerly I can't remember the name. Was it Marissa's? Mary Ann's. Formerly known as Mary Ann's, in case any of you know the venue by that name. Please think about joining us. It was a wonderful event last year, and I'm looking forward to sweating it out and trying to keep busy, keeping everybody properly served one more time. How are we doing on that basket? Do I need to buy any more time? Okay. At this time, I'd like to thank our sponsors.
Excuse me. Yes. Do you have 5 minutes for someone that was actually there to speak?
I have someone who was actually at the dinner who would like to share a couple of words.
In the South, during the Civil Rights Movement.
Okay.
One of the leaders from the Civil Rights Movement.
Well, you got to make sure to tell me which there you're talking about. I'm sorry.
Hi. Sorry to interrupt and make you feel uneasy, but that happened a lot during the Civil Rights Movement. We made people feel uneasy a lot of the time. The reason why I wanted to speak, I think it's really important that everybody that has been oppressed in the United States has an opportunity to tell their story. And I really appreciate the lady who spoke earlier and hearing her story. But I think at this time it's real important to hear about the civil rights movement too, from somebody who was actually there. Because the history books don't tell it right anymore. When my sons went to school, I had to tell them what it was like, because the history books sanitized it. First of all, Martin Luther King, though he was a wonderful person, was not the black leader. We had no the black leader. We had hundreds of leaders. And that's what set us free to demonstrate. For years, we were ready to demonstrate in the 40s, but we could never get going because we believed this myth that you had to have one leader. And we couldn't come up with one leader, and we used to just bemoan and say how horrible we were as a group of people, as a race, because we couldn't come up with a leader. And until we realized we didn't have to have a leader, and we had hundreds of leaders, then the civil rights movement happened. Martin Luther King got recognized on a day. Everybody can say a little bit of his speech. And that's what made him famous. Every black leader that stepped to the podium that day said, "We will not wait. We want civil rights now, today, right this minute." And he was the only one that was willing to delay. He was the only one to wait until tomorrow. He was the only one that had a dream, and the rest weren't dreaming. So that's what caught him in the national eye. He got caught by the media. Politicians loved him because they didn't want to give us civil rights now. And that's what the hundreds of thousands of people were there for. Civil rights now, today. And so that's why he became popular with the press. He did some neat things. He came into his own stride, really, during the Rainbow Coalition. And that will correct that he didn't do much work with other than black people. That's not true. During his Rainbow Coalition, he worked with everybody. He worked with the garbage workers in Tennessee. A lot of white people were garbage workers at that time. But the main thing I want to impress on you, there were hundreds of us that were risking our lives daily. I'm a co-founder of a group called TAO, Tuskegee Institute Advancement League. And I risked my life on a daily basis on what was at that time a national story, but no one's ever heard of it now, unless you were around then. All the wire services were there. All the Time, Look, Life were all covering the story. And my job as one of the co-founders of TAO was to go out and map the route for the next day. And usually that meant having two white guys in a panel truck or in a pickup truck following me around with a shotgun, hoping to get me on the street where they could blow my head off. Now that's a kind of thing that didn't just happen to me, it happened to many, many people. So what I wanted you to get an image in your mind is, King's name has made it so that we have a day for one black person each year. But I want you to get it in your mind that if you see a picture of King, there are thousands and thousands of black people that did what King did, only because of a statement he made. The politicians and the media latched onto him. But every day, there were thousands of black people and white people who came. And also, I want you to get another idea. It wasn't in the South. It was in every major city in the United States, north, south, on both coasts. So I want you to get that picture. There's a lot of us.
And returning. That's exactly right. This is the people's holiday. And there are some sponsors who have helped us put this together, and they need to be thanked right now. The Missoula Advocates for Human Rights, the University of Montana Excellence Fund, St. Paul Lutheran Church, the YWCA, Hide and Soul, the University Congregational Church, West Ridge Creative, and the National Coalition Building Institute. Thank you for your support. We appreciate it very much. And in addition, we have some food sponsors that I'd like to thank. And because of them, we will have a reception downstairs at the conclusion of our program here. They are the Good Food Store, Great Harvest Bread, University of Montana Food Service, the YWCA, Bernice's, and Albertsons. We'd like to thank you very much again for your support. And now I'd like to give some recognition to the people who have worked tirelessly for the last half year to put this day together, and also working on the Sunday dinner. The Missoula Martin Luther King Committee, and if you would, please stand and remain standing until all the committee members are called. Betty Wing, Ralph Stone, Kelly Slattery, Alex Roberts, Murray Pierce, Linda Osler, Jonathan Dunbar, Ray Carlisle. Thank you very much. Again, thank you, Donna Bryson and the St. Paul's Lutheran Choir. And thank you for joining together on this, the 21st birthday of our Martin Luther King Jr. federal holiday. As we part, I beseech each of you to reflect upon the truth of Dr. King's message and maintain it within your hearts. I hope that each of us will commemorate his sacrifice by demonstrating the values of forgiveness, nonviolence, and love to one another each day. These same values that were the foundation of his strength, he employed to the bitter end, bringing about a better day for the poor, for women, for minorities of all persuasions, indeed, for you and me. Please go downstairs and enjoy some refreshments with us. Thank you.